And a good Monday midday to you. Roger Hill of Weathering Heights, VELCO Weather Hazards Forecaster. This weather video driven by 802cars.com. They represent 802 Toyota, Twin City Subaru, 802 Honda. They're all located off of exit 7 on Interstate 89. Big picture, we got the 500 hectopascal thicknesses and heights. So what we're seeing here is a area of low pressure up in the northwestern part of Canada, kind of a ridge, which has been part of the big heat ridge, which is really extending down to the southern states. This trough of lower pressure that is introducing a little bit of a cooling effect to our neck of the woods here. It is also triggering some a band of showers and a few isolated thunderstorms in the mix. These thunderstorms are going to be with us off and on over the next 3 days with this trough of lower pressure, very gradually working overhead and then eventually exiting. Once we get on the other side of this ridge of into this ridge of higher pressure, that'll be developing, it looks like, on Tuesday night. And we're looking at a couple of very nice days, basically, for Wednesday and Thursday. This before more showers and thunderstorms begin to push in with much hotter and more humid conditions. That mostly pushes in over the weekend, and mostly in the late part of the weekend and early to mid of next week. Dew point temperatures not as ridiculous as they have been, but we're seeing a lot of widespread 60s and some 70s, and this sort of 60 to 65 degree mode is what's going to be with us here with this trough of lower pressure pushing in. Eventually these dew point temperatures do come down to around 60 and set the stage in the upper 50s to low 60s. It's going to feel pretty nice by then because we're really acclimated toward very, very tropical kind of conditions with the heat wave last week and the very hot 70 degree dew point temperatures continuing into a good portion of the weekend. Now we're seeing that little bit of a cool-off. This is the European model, and as we advance it here over time, this is the time to take a look at. This is 15Z, that's 11 o'clock on this Monday morning, and we're just a little bit beyond that, and European model wants to really introduce a lot of shower activity and a little bit of thunderstorm activity, so you can kind of see the blend here. And that continues into through 5 o'clock. That would be valid right through 8 o'clock this evening. A little bit of a back off, things kind of wind on down. Then we get a little bit more, 09Z, this is roughly 5 o'clock in the morning. So something that develops basically after midnight tonight. And this is part and parcel, sort of leftover lifting mechanism with an upper level area of low pressure, this trough that's kind of working into the region. Doesn't go very far, it's going to kind of lollygag. So it'll be with us during the day tomorrow. You can see we're in for some showers and thunderstorms. Latest indications are probably not much more than about a ½ inch to about 1 inch amounts across the region through Tuesday night. And as we get into Tuesday evening, things begin to dry out. A little bit of a ridging of higher pressure begins to become the main influence. And once we get into Wednesday, I'm looking at 2 fine days, Wednesday and Thursday. We have a frontal boundary that's starting to form. This is valid about 11 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. And it's mostly going to be holding off to the north and west until we get into Thursday night. Very late in the day, there could be a few shower and thunderstorm activity working in the St. Lawrence River Valley and trying to make a run toward Vermont. And you can see that this is valid through 8 o'clock in the evening. It looks like it's getting very close to the Grand Isle region. And to take it a little bit further, you can see that there's a frontal system that works on through during the area around Thursday night into the Friday morning. And it looks like it'll linger into Friday morning for a time, and then isolated showers and thunderstorms, and then a little bit more robust buildup later in the day, perhaps. Hard to say at this point. But on Saturday, we're into widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. And by that point in time, we'll have seen some heat begin to migrate into the region with this big heat dome across the southern U.S. being picked up on a southwesterly flow. The GFS Canadian Ensemble. We have today the 13th. This is 0Z, 8 p.m. This evening. You can see that we're having a little bit of precipitation, 1/10 of an inch, not much, not a big deal here. This is centered on Montpelier, Vermont, and again, this is the GFS Ensemble. This carries over into the night and then into tomorrow morning, and then begins to dry out once we get into Tuesday evening. Looks like we get a little bit of a break in the action, then on Wednesday and Thursday. And then once we get toward Friday and this coming weekend, we're back into a little bit more of the typical upward vertical motion with shower and thunderstorm activity. These are CAPEs, convective available potential energy. You can see that. the next couple of days, then a drop off, and then we're back into it. And then precipitable water looks like this. It's kind of up and down just a little bit. Running about 1.2 inches in general. A little bit of a drop off here. When things dry out, we get slightly cooler conditions aloft, and that pushes on through. Then the precipitable water increases a little bit, drops off, and so forth. And that leads to the Weather Prediction Center and what they're thinking. Right now, it looks like, well, here's the 1 inch line, less to the south across southern parts of New England. The most right across central portions of really the Adirondacks, central Vermont, right into central New Hampshire. We'll see if that works out. These areas have been probably missed the most, according to a lot of the last couple of months. These areas have seen the least amount of rainfall. Also, probably in the northern tier regions, but they're going to get a little bit more as it looks right now. We're looking at 2 meter dew points. Let's get it back to temperatures. You can kind of see where we are here. A little bit of a cool off. Tomorrow, probably the coolest day. European has us at 75. And then we start to ramp things up just a little bit. But the main effect here, 80s and so forth, are going to be holding until Friday and then beyond Friday over the weekend and especially into next week. So right now we're running a little bit cooler across the eastern parts of New England, again associated with that trough lower pressure swinging on through. This is sort of the advanced lead to that ridge of higher pressure, and this is valid for the next 5 days. Then 3 days later, it looks like this. You can see that basically coast to coast. The big heat dome is expanding outward to the north, and especially into the northeast United States. Looking at the northern hemisphere, you can see that things have cooled down in a lot of places, especially in the western part of North America, northern and western areas. A little bit of a cool down's made it into the upper Midwest. This is sort of leftovers of the heat wave, and that's how things look right now. No activity indicated over the next 5 days for tropical cyclone activity, and this is the near term, the next 48 hours. There's a little bit of action off the West African coast. Some more dust being indicated, but this is something probably we'll start to see something to develop probably toward the weekend and beyond that point. That's it from here. Roger Hill, Weathering Heights. Thanks for watching.